Okay, so it's 5 to 5. I had more lights on because the dogs are up, eating and everything else. I mean, my night is the same as my day. It's just every few hours that I eat, so I don't know what the fuck is going on in this world. I swear to God, I don't get it. So, anyways, but more lights made them more rowdy. Like they were ready to go, like the little fellas. They're ready to just tear shit up, man. And Stella is on a rant, so and I've still got this cup of tea, so you're gonna have to bear with me on this one. That and there's a bunch of stuff. So hold on a second. First, let's just get this out of the way. Let's just look at my tooth. It's so trippy too, is because I'll go in and look at it tons of times during the day, and it is doing just like what I said. And this is a trippy thing, like which came first, the chicken or the egg? Because it's like, am I making it do this, or is this what I was always going to do? Like, am I doing this with my thoughts and my brain? And I know, like, you have to have a healthy environment. Like, I know you need the minerals too. Like, if your teeth are all rotting and stuff, it's to show you that you're missing something. You've got something that's not right inside of you. And because I know that a lot of people's teeth are having problems, just like people's hair is all turning white and silver and stuff, and osteoporosis is on the rise and stuff. But the one thing I was thinking about the hair though is some of these people that are full on white, like my mom's hair was pretty white, but like I have neighbors across the street, and her husband, I think they're like the same age as me, but they are totally white. And I was like, man, when you're coming back from that, just because of what I've witnessed on myself, is like, it takes a while. And so, if you are wherever you're starting, it may take a while. So don't just be like, oh, this doesn't work. I mean, you're coming from a really depleted part where it's taken all the color out of your hair. All the minerals from your hair has been taken. And so you have to, however long it takes, you just have to, and it is a lot to all of a sudden to make a big leap into a new lifestyle. Although I think that the universe is going to make a big push on it, and like it's going to open doors to change. But just doing whatever you can to change your lifestyle towards taking care of yourself and being healthy. Just go in that direction. Doors will open and stuff, but just go in that direction. And people are so fucking lost. Like healthcare is just blowing the fuck up. I knew it was gonna. Elvis keeps going across the stage. I don't know if you can. Oh, that mirror's not. There's that little mirror. Sometimes I'm like, I wonder if they can see the TV in there. I think sometimes you can see the stuff, but you can't see it clear enough to see. Elvis keeps going across the thing. I've got a tightness in my chest, but I haven't been up. I haven't been up very long. So I'm still drinking my second cup, so I'll cough and stuff, and it will clear up in a while. But still, the atmosphere feeling like it's too hard to breathe or too heavy or something, or if it's too light, it reminds me of being on like if you go up in an atmosphere. Oh yeah, because I already said it, but going down in the water, but going up, like if you're mountain climbing and stuff, the higher you go, there's a problem with breathing. Like people who go up to these people who go and climb these mountains and stuff, like Mount Rushmore and stuff. Like I've just heard them talking about some of that stuff before. There's a change in the altitude, changes the atmosphere, makes it harder to breathe, makes you more lightheaded or something. It can give you some kind of a, what is that called? Where you're kind of hallucinating. Like if you're out in the desert and you start seeing things. I think it's kind of like that. God, I'm getting rushed. God, my head, it feels so full and it's getting so rushed. Everything I say is like reference, all this stuff just coming so fast. That has got to be, we got to be having intense energy or something today. It's like fucking intense. Okay, hold on. But that's what that part feels like. This part where it's like my body or something. Something's not matching. Something's weird. Something's weird with the atmosphere. Something's weird with the air. Being able to breathing yesterday when we went for a walk. Let me think, because it was a sucky walk, man. I was, fuck. Some of these walks, and I know it's me and my energy is just so fucking intense, and everything feels so intense, and it's like, fuck, man. And then if you're going out and taking 3 dogs on a walk, because Archie was like, oh, he's all about it yesterday, and the other day we went to the other thing. And, you know, I always feel like every time that I'm out there, it's like, good, because, Max is, oh my God, he has a spins or something. He's just constantly going, like if we stop, and Stella wants to fucking suck the goddamn life out of these walks. Like, I am not shitting you. And it's like walking a sloth. I'm not fucking kidding. And it can be so frustrating. And she wants to stop, and then she needs to smell stuff for about 20 minutes because she's really got to put this smell and register it into her brain. And she's looking around like, where is this thing? Smelling it some more. And then, see, they'll want to go over there and get involved. Max is like, he wants to do everything as fast as possible. He wants to experience it all. He wants to see what's going on. He wants to go, go, go. So the whole time he's trying to pull, like, he is like a fucking sled dog. You got to see him hunched over. I'm like, dude, this has got to not feel good on your back. Hunched over, pulling us. But what he's pulling is my goddamn fucking elbow. And it's fucking aggravating. And and going to the dog walking class is, when we were doing the dog, or just training class, when we were doing the dog walking part, and I don't remember if that was a specific class or anything, but the place where I was, how they taught to get your dog's attention, so it's not doing that and just going off and everything and pulling you in every direction, is for you to constantly shift directions. You yank them and go the other way, yank them, go the other way, yank them, go the other way. And so pretty soon they're like alert, paying nothing but attention to you, because they're like, what the fuck, man? And so the tables turn. And so then they start paying attention to you. So I've been working on this with Max, but I definitely like pull like a little harder, I think, when I'm aggravated. And, actually, he did a couple, or he's like over there, and then he's like somersaulted over when I pulled, but he was, like, it got his attention. He did start staying like right with us. It's like, fuck, dude, my elbow cannot handle this. Like, and especially this extensive sloth walk that we're doing. It's like, come on. I'm like, universe, what the fuck? What is this? I'm like, god damn. I've been saying that a lot. Like, what the fuck? What am I supposed to be learning here? What the fuck? What the fuck, man? So much stuff is witnessing yourself. And this is like, you're going to see your worst side during all this, I'm telling you. Oh my gosh. I just get flooded with fucking... Okay, I got started. Hold on. Okay. So, let's look at my tooth. But it is doing just like what I said. And it's like yesterday, especially, I kept going in there. I was like, fuck, it's totally turning orange. I 100% from what I'm witnessing would say your tooth will go through the this process of growing, just like a skin knee. That's what it always brings me back to, a skin knee. And so it has to go through the tissue growth. And we have this fiber stuff or something. Mine apparently is orange. I don't know. I would say it's probably in kind of a range like that, like the color of our teeth, but it's deeper color, like our blood veins in our body compared to our skin or something. So I can see the orange as it's going out. It's like this fibrous growth happens, and then it like fills in with the white, and then it just keeps going. It's like this growth. And then it goes like what they showed me in my head, but it's so trippy. It's like, man, it's trippy when you start like questioning, you know, am I causing this, or how's this working? Because when you see it working, it's like, how is this working? Am I creating it? Am I making it? Is it happening and I am aware of it? Like, it's just it's a lot of stuff. And so, and the black is getting so much smaller, and it's doing just like what I said, great, and parts of it are just disappearing. They're just like turning orange. And to me, it looks like the black is becoming really, really small, really, really small. And the white around it is like closing in. So it's exactly like what they had showed me. It's just like closing in. It's turning orange coming from the inside. And then as it's turning to white, it just closes in. So, and I still don't know, like, if we're a week away from being fixed or what. That, it's also trippy because I can feel the top of my tooth changing. It is like, I can feel it growing when I touch it with my tongue. Now when I touch it with my tongue, it doesn't feel like there's any problems there. It feels like a kind of a weird texture. But man, when it first happened, it was raggedy and it was cutting my lip. That is one thing that dentist did, was grind down the sharp part, which now I'm curious because of that intervention, how my tooth will react to that. If it will just heal and mend that part, or if that will always have like a little divot thing where he ground it down. Is it is an interference? Because everything that we allow them to do somehow interferes with our natural process. So anyways, let's get to it and look at it. So I don't know how good you guys can see it. So I go up so close so you can zoom in if you want. But I think it's like so, I mean, fixing itself. I was like, I'm not doing anything. I got that toothpaste, but it was already doing it before that, which I say it has to do with the minerals. And one thing too is I'm noticing more changes in my color hair, even though it's this, like this bit is so slow. It feels like how long we've been doing this. But that iron in my water thing, and it was freaking me out at first, like I said, because the rust. But I asked Siri, and she said there's nothing wrong with drinking rusty water. It's not going to affect your health or whatever. It's fine. And then why would they make something that is iron? Like, I know, like our cast iron, if you left water in it, it's going to get rusty. But how could they make it if it was, I don't know. The whole thing's weird. But it definitely gets rusty. And the inside of my teapot is not rusty. But drinking the tea with made with the iron water, I have definitely noticed a difference. And I know I have seen where doctors have said you need to have the iron to absorb the magnesium, to absorb the copper. Like, you need them all to absorb the other. Like, if you're short in iron and you just drink and drink and drink copper, you're not going to absorb it unless you have enough iron. So it all goes together. So that's why, you know, you've got to figure out your own balance. And this is all new to me. So it's not like I'm an expert. I can just say what I'm witnessing and experiencing. And I don't know. I mean, I have people ask me and stuff. And you could try and get lab tests. But our medical is shenanigans. It's fucking snake salesman, snake oil salesman and stuff. It's all bullshit. And the one video I just saw was a doctor, and I said that this stuff was gonna, all this stuff is going just so much like what I had seen. But this, so this doctor was saying she was in surgeries. She has 2 surgeries she was doing, and she called the name of them. And whatever it was like doing a mastectomy, but they have to do all of this other kind of stuff with the tissue. Like, it's a big surgery. And so she's in the middle of one, and then somebody comes in and says, United Healthcare on the phone. They said, you got to call right now. My doctor is like, I'm in the middle of surgery. And she's like, they said you got to call right now on this patient. It's like, this is motherfucking absurd. And so, and that was what she was thinking. Like, she did a video about it. So don't forget, all these different things are happening to different degrees to all of us. Some of us are witnessing it. Some of them are experiencing it. And that is what's waking them up. So we're watching as people are like, what the fuck? All day long. What the fuck? But it's the way people turn is like, we need a new way to look. Because everybody keeps, you know, I'll talk about that one in a minute. Oh, fuck. Okay. So I'm gonna go a little faster. So this lady she went and called the guy, and she said, he starts questioning. So is this patient going to need to stay? Is this patient going to, like, starts asking just these ridiculous questions. And she's like, I'm in the middle of surgery. Do you not have awareness? Oh, no, that's a different department. I don't know about that. I don't know what you're doing. It's like corporate, but there's people doing this. Like, there's people who are following orders, doing these jobs. It's like, oh, you poor person. Like, what you wake up to. Like, everything is different, though. Maybe theirs won't be as impactful as, like well, what it would appear. That's our learning. Like, because it's like, what the fuck? So anyways, she just couldn't believe it. She said, I've never had an experience like that. And she was like, yes, she needs to stay in the hospital tonight. And she's getting major surgery. I'm in the middle of it. And so, she was saying the insurance companies are out of control. Like, this is ridiculous. I've never experienced anything like that. But this is what I was saying. It's going to build this momentum like that. This is crazy. And anybody who's involved is going to feel it. It's going to get way more impactful, way more crazy, way more ridiculous, way more absurd. And so what's trippy as an observer is just like, fuck, man. Why, if y'all would have seen it earlier, you wouldn't have to go through this. But it's like how far people go into things, like how far it goes. It's just like, it's mental. And people will just put up with so much shit. Like, that's one thing they need to see the good side of it too. Like, yeah, we've put up with some shit, but like, fuck. As a species, we put up with some shit, man. Like, fuck. And so it's all on different levels, all on how you look at it. So anyways, she's pissed off. This other one, so this lady, she works in something with insurance, I can't remember. It was something with law, litigation, insurance, something. And she wanted to talk about the three things. And so she said that right now there's this big case happening with the insurance company because of the bullshit. So 3 girls just won $365 million in a landmark case, and media is not picking up on it all. She's like, what the fuck? She said that she was going to go do a write-up on it and stuff. She said there's nothing. She can't find anything in any news story about it. And she's like, this is ridiculous. This is like, we're having histories being made here. And the premise behind it is, of course, shenanigans. Because if you have good insurance, well, the hospital is going to profit off of that. They're just going to keep you in there. No, you need to stay here. We need to run some more tests. We need to do this if you got the good insurance. So those 3 girls were held into a hospital for that purpose, and they were also abused during that by doctors and nurses. They were sexually assaulted, like all sorts of shit. Like, they wanted a lot of money. And it's just not being talked about because the corporation owns the media who wants to keep us in line, and they don't want us to know how bad they're failing. But it's the whole thing is falling apart. That and she said one of the other ones, she was talking about the censorship thing. One of the things that you need to be aware of, because this is something I've seen on my own. Like, the other day there was somebody like, I was like, what are they saying? I don't understand what they're saying. So I went in to look at their other comments. Like, are they just rude? Are they just trying to be an asshole? Like, and so I went, and if I go on to their account, like, from my perspective, if somebody has a comment and I go on to your account, then I can see your page thing, if you have followers, if you're posting, and how many times you've commented on mine. And the weird thing is, I've noticed this a few times, is it will say, like, this one in particular said 18 comments, 7 seen. So it's like, so where, and I keep clicking on it, trying to find the other comments. I can only see the last couple. And so I was like, I'm not seeing most of the comments. So most of the comments, I don't see them. So when you're commenting and I don't say anything, it's not because I'm ignoring you, it's because I don't see it. I just don't see it. And the shenanigans are so ridiculous is because people are starting to realize when they look at each other's phones that everybody's getting different comments that is angled more towards your personality. So the algorithm is showing you what it is like you need to see to keep you in alignment with that person, that part of you. Instead of giving more, I don't know, as I guess on one level they could say, instead of making you mad, but see, we need to see bigger and broader. We need to understand everybody's different perspectives and stuff. Not thinking that, we run the world through our vision. And, everybody has their own vision, and everybody has to get comfortable with their own vision. And then there's going to be a lot of like-minded people that will come together with a similar vision. And that is where we're going to build communities and stuff like that. This lady I just saw, she was, she had to put in a jab on Donald in her post that was about dogs. And she said that, so she's lived at this, so this is some rural Texas town, I think. And she and her neighbor have both lived there like 50 years. And so, and it is a neighborhood, but it's not like a big city or something. So in this neighborhood, like 6 months ago or a year ago, this new neighbor that moved in not 50 years ago, who is really hard to deal with, who apparently is just the neighbor asshole. They got a dog, a little puppy. And as soon as they got it, they just got a rope and took it out back and tied it to a tree. So for a year, this dog has cried out on this tree all day and all night. And the woman who was making this video, she's cat a corner. So she's not directly next to him. And she was, at first she said, she thought, oh, they put the dog out and it's crying to get back in or something. And after, I don't know, 6 months or something of it, she talked to the other neighbor. And that neighbor said, no, they tied that dog outside and they won't bring it in. And they don't take care of it or anything. So they call like animal control. I know the one lady who's doing the videos, she called animal control. She was trying to do something. She even went over and confronted the neighbor and said something. She said that didn't go well. I mean, he's a total asshole all the time. And so she, the neighbor who lives next door, though, now she's decided she's just going to sell her house. She's just going to stay somewhere else all the time. She can't take it. It's too much. This dog just crying all day and all night. And the lady across the street, she's really pissed because it's like, what the fuck, man? And what are we supposed to do? And to me, it's like, this is where we start, it's harder when you have a community that's more established, but like-minded people need to come together. It's not like running people out of town, but it's setting a certain standard. And all the neighbors need to go together, go over to that person's house and take that motherfucking dog. Like, you're just sitting there listening to that. You're listening to abuse. Like, you're doing nothing. Like, you're going to, like, people are going to, that's kind of stuff people are going to feel really bad about when the lights come on and they see like their own lack of sense of morality and stuff like that. Like, well, how was I so cut off? I couldn't believe it when she said it's been like a year. I was thinking like she was going to say it'd been a couple of weeks. No, they've all been listening to this for all this time. And this little puppy is grown up tied to a tree. No, you got, the amount of ignorance in some people when it comes to animals is just like, they don't deserve those relationships. Like, it's absurd. So anyways, but everybody's on their own learning journey, and this is a lot of intense stuff. There's a lot of souls learning some big fucking shit. And so, but that is where you build community. You build like a new community out of a community of like more like-minded people, to where that person is the person who's the troublemaker is the one moving, not the people who have lived there, who've been building a community, that they all are like, well, just leave. It is like that, um, it's like a, it's like a lack of boundaries. It's like, well, I don't want to fucking have to, it'd be easier just to go over here and not deal with it. And those situations come into our life to deal with them. Like, they're not happening in everybody's lives. So when those things come, you're an isolated incident, and it's happening to you for a reason. So you can see these different sides of yourself and stuff. And, and so, and a lot of people are just like riding confusion right now, but that's why there will be clarity when the lights come on, and people will see things clearly. They'll understand a lot more clearly. Oh yeah, and don't forget, like, the one thing I had said about Donald, and this was a few weeks ago, and I said, because I knew like the MAGA thing was going to fall apart, and because there can't be these mindless groups of authority, I heard, but there's man, it's hard to explain, because it's like a movement of energy, but to these groups become too authoritative, it's got to be this way and stuff. It doesn't leave room, and this is where it's breaking down. What I had said, there was going to be a breakdown in it. I said there's going to be things that are going to be coming up because this is going to break down. And there's going to be fractures in that group, because some people are going to believe this way and some people are going to believe that way. And so that is what's going. And then there's people saying, oh, Donald, he's shifted gears, he's turned it or something. Like, I'm not just in there like, oh, what's happening? So I don't know all the details, but apparently there's some shift on the immigration thing. And I had said that it's against human rights. So there's going to be, it's going to fall apart. And that is what is dividing. And I said there will be a certain group that is going to look at it like it has to be this way. It's a very fearful, it's a very controlling, containing, well, let's write the rules, but we'll write the rules we want. And it's like, no, that there's a lot of us that don't want to abide by those rules. So the rules, there's so much rule makers, rules and all that stuff that is falling apart and shifting, because there's not a bunch of rules for us. Like, they made rules up, and and everything is much more about your rule book is inside, and your experience in life gives you more perspective in your own rule book, because you're learning your rules like as it goes, apparently. Because you'd think everybody had the same moral compass, but no. But then you think about, well, how do we get one? When you go through different lives, you learn things. And so there's a lot of gaps being filled in for souls or something, I would say, of this learning. It's like learning as you're going. And so there's some people who are here learning things that other people know deep inside of them. And that's why we got to give everybody space to learn, because then we're interfering when we interfere. And so so anyways, on that, I don't know what all the drama is going. I just know that there's some kind of split happening, and the people are mad, and I'm not sure which side he's doing, because at first it was like he's gonna just go day one and just send everybody home, and I don't know, there's some number thing. Oh, well, number 238.12, we're going to say this is the rule or some, I don't know. I just know that as human beings, that we have the right to free range. We have the right to go where we want, when we want. And there is nobody who has the rights over us to, tell us to show us their papers. And then they can find anything that they want wrong with your papers. They can discriminate, like it's just a part of their system, and it's gonna fall apart. And Donald is a catalyst person in this experience, so he can bring something up and shift gears and turn everybody and get everybody mad. And he's just like, it's like he can see the bigger picture. He can see like this is how people wake up. This is how you get them to pay attention and stuff. And they've got to go in and question their own theories on, freedom, but also that they have to question their own value system on freedom. But there's a lot of different ways for things about themselves to see through these things. But this is definitely something that's shifting. Like, we are definitely going into freedom. Like, that is for sure. So all the things in regards to that are going to be shifting. And that's why on one hand, we have different countries saying, oh, well, if you have ancestors like Africa's, like if you even have dark skin, hell yeah, come on over. You're an African then. We're letting you come in. You can be an African. You got, I don't know, they're making it some kind of thing Scottish, which, see, Ireland, I think both, I've seen videos, I think both Scotland and Ireland, if you have ancestry, that, like, if your great-grandpa, your grandpa, like mine, my grandpa was Scottish, then I can go over there, and I don't know how much proof we have to do or whatever. I think it's just kind of a, maybe it's like you tell their name and they have a thing that they can look up or something. Because I like know what clans I'm from and stuff. So maybe it's like they look or something. I'm not sure, because I haven't done it yet. I want to do it, but I still is like, we're still waiting for shit to fall apart. I definitely want to go over there before it all goes underwater. So, oh yeah, underwater. I was like, fuck, now LA needs the water to come put out the fucking fires. Now there's so much. Oh my God, so much more with news, or the mishandling. See how shit has to go? Like, fuck. Mishandling of fun. Oh my God. I don't know. I heard that there's not even water in the fucking fire hydrants. The fucking Palisades is just fucked. And I don't even know how far reaching out. I don't know how, when you see the videos, it's like fucking Hawaii all over again. People just walking through, embers going, they're trying to get horses out and stuff. Like, they're setting animals free to make it on their own. Like, oh, it's fucking horrible. They got firemen arguing on radios and stuff. Like, they're all overwhelmed. And it's so crazy because I had just told my brother a holiday thing in one of those group conversations. I said, I'm always asking, so when are you retiring? And when are you guys moving? Because they've got a place over. They had it on Salmon River in Idaho, but he said that he's not, like, he wants to, I think he was going to Boise. There's lots of firemen that retire, so it goes to these places where a lot of them go. And so he said that he thinks he's just going to buy a new house there and not on his property or something. And so I was asking him, and I said, well, I bet you that, because he said that this year was his last year. And I said, I bet you're going to wish that this year, that you wish that you would have retired before this year. Like, we'll see how this year goes. But already, like, it's coming in hot. And so I don't know I know he's a LA fireman, so I'm sure they're having it affect all of those firemen around there. So I don't know, because they'll call them in, and sometimes, like, they'll have to stay at work and stuff. So the disasters really affect, so it's a huge disaster. And it's just so crazy, because we're all sitting there thinking that it's gonna, I didn't see it coming, that they were gonna start it on fire. I was seeing earthquakes, tsunamis, but all of a sudden a fire like this in the middle of fucking January, like, fuck. Like, is it fucking, I mean, and haven't they had so much rain? Like, what? I, yeah, I don't know. That's like, what are they spraying accelerants on things at night while we sleep? Like, what the fuck, man? And so, in my neighbor who I'm supposed to be dog sitting for, I'm just like, I wonder if what's going on, she's gonna fly into that today. And it was just like, because people were doing it in Hawaii, just flying right on in, like, oh, that disaster, that was over there. And it's like, I don't know. Like, that's this mindless part of society that I keep seeing. It's like, if it's not affecting me, then is it really happening? It's like, yeah, it's really happening. It's really happening for a whole lot of people. Bad things are really happening, and places are falling apart, and you need to pay attention. Like, so I don't even know. I don't even know. Like, all these storms and stuff, the snow and the ice and stuff, which I still say they're putting in extra slickery stuff to cause so many of these things. Like, I cannot believe some of these footage of these things going out of control. And I cannot even fucking believe how many of these trucks didn't just stay parked before the storm. Like, this is so absurd. I just, like, do they all have stuff that has to be delivered right now? Like, it's not getting delivered now. It's like, it's so weird. It's like, I don't know, like, humans are out of control. Like, I don't know. It's fucking weird. But so you got that fucking huge disaster going with all this snow, the blizzards, and all that. You got on fire over there. There's nothing happening right here where it's just like, fuck, man, what's about to happen? What's about to happen? Like, this is like, oh, so intense when you're waiting to see what's going to come for us. What's coming? Like, is it going to be like the vibrating ground? Is it going to be like the Cascadian fault line is going to all of a sudden go or something? Like, the volcanoes preparing? Like, I don't fucking know. Like, this is the craziest thing. But definitely the fire thing is bringing up a lot of stuff of, like, I don't know. It seems like I'm not that familiar with the Palisades, but it seems like that it's kind of like, you got like the city and the buildings, and then you have like places where like fancier house, because these people have horses and stuff. So there's more land, where it's not all like just because when you live in California, your houses, for regular people, regular neighborhood people, are crammed in together. Like, you're just right close. And, yeah, because even if you go into some fancier, I was just thinking how my brother's neighborhood, their houses are $1 million houses. And I was trying to think, how close are his neighbors? But I know, like, when you go, like, when I went to my sister-in-law's, was it her grandma's house? Somebody's house we went to. And it was in a more, I don't know, more like a Mexican part of town or something. The houses were so fucking close and so fucking small. And it was, I don't know. It's just such a, man, there's such a double standard, such a hierarchy, such a mistreatment of, there's just not a fairness. Like, it does give people a concept or something of being of less value when we all are the same value. So it's very misrepresenting. Although you could move into a little neighborhood like that and everybody be really close, and everybody a really strong community. And I bet you can also move into one like that has been infiltrated by gangs and drugs and stuff. And because, they don't want us to come together in unity like that. So they'll infiltrate those neighborhoods. And then, and a lot of other ones, and it's like the more money you have, the less that you're going to go hang out with your neighbors or something. It's like distancing yourself. And so it becomes a more distance or something. But that is like a sense of being or something. It's something that is created by them, you know. And I think that we all want to have more space. We all want to be on top of each other. Like, I think that is healthy. I think that we're going to go into that. You know, we're not going to all cram into little places. That is what they want us to do. I saw some video of somebody showing some thing, and I don't know what it is. If it's a camp, I don't know what the fuck it is. And I've seen these before, and they're like, I don't know how to explain them. It's so ridiculous. It's like if you took 1,000 tiny homes, real tiny, like tiny, I don't know, 300 square foot tiny, like a bunch of sheds, kind of. And on one video I had seen where they were going up and looking, there was like ways that it seemed like, this seems like you could gas this person. Like, it has things on the outside of the house to, like, this is weird. And so I was like, what kind of camps are they? What the hell are they trying to do? And so this person was walking through them and showing how many, like, there was shit ton. They just kept going and going and going. They're all like right next to each other. They all look exactly the same. And that's what they want us to, you know, to surrender to. They want us to surrender to dog cages, basically, like what I said. Like, they have that in some of those. They charge so much money to people like in China or someplace for places that people are having to rent dog crates in hallways of buildings. It's like, man. I mean, in some of those places, they don't even, like, get to go home. They have to take a nap. They're expected to work and work and work and work and work. And then there's so much weird shit with their morals or their drive. Everything is so manipulated. People are just not who they're meant to be. They're not who they really are. They're a facade of themselves. They're a creation of a hostile environment. And that's why you got to shed all this hostility, you know, shed your anger. You can't even go into this being all resentful to the, you know, these monsters who've been doing this to us, because you need to shed that anger. You need to let go of that, you know, that, those feelings that are coming up and stuff. Is that you got to process through them. You can't just hold on to the anger and fear. Fear is so big on so many of the things too. There's so much with fear, and they've created so much fear around the immigration because of the certain group that was brought in. And it's like people start looking at everybody like they're a part of that group that was brought in to destroy us. And it was like, no, they were going around, missionary church people, like the fucking church, going around. And somebody was talking about in Venezuela and stuff, going door to door with packets and making offers and telling them to come here. They were going to get this and that and all these things. So a lot of people came here because they were telling them they were going to get this. And then they got here, and then there was no place for them. They were putting up in hotels and all this stuff. But it was all of this was created to create this chaos. And like I've said before, I don't know if it was strategic on certain places of trying to clear them out, because there's going to be so many disasters that are going to happen. They're going to wipe out so many huge amounts of people. And yesterday, where was that? Was it Taiwan? Or maybe the day before. But it was like Taiwan or someplace. There was a huge earthquake, and there was tons of people that were dead, and tons of people that were, they were trying to dig them out from buildings and stuff. So they're in the middle of a huge, giant crisis of this huge earthquake that happened, and that devastation and stuff, because all these things are happening everywhere, all of this stuff. And then, but that one totally is where I was like, I knew there was going to be these things where a whole bunch of people are going to be going at once. There's even going to be ones that are going to be like in the, like over by Asheville and stuff, where there's going to be tens of thousands of people who are all going to go at once. And there's going to be lots of devastating things that are going to continue. There was one now where insurance companies are canceling. So if your fire insurance, so these people are losing everything. Even one video was these reality stars. I remember, I think they were off of what was that show? My kids used to watch it. I got all into it watching it with them. It was it's where Lauren Conran comes from. Who she went into clothes designing, but when she started, it started on this reality show. I think it was off of MTV or something, probably, because there's so many on there then. But they and my kids were watching, it was all this drama. It was like these LA young kids in their party lifestyle or something. And two of them were on there, and they ended up becoming famous, and they got together, and they had another reality show, and the girl is known for all her plastic surgeries or something. She's giant, but she's like trying to be made into Barbie or something. Can't remember her guy's name, but I just saw him. But anyways, their house was in it. They did a video, because they were stressing and they had to evacuate, and then they started watching on their cameras their whole house burn down. And so he was saying that. So I'm sure there's other people that have a lot of money whose houses are burning down there, but the insurance company are the same thing with the flood. The flood comes out, oh well, we can't cover that. And then there's no organizations, nobody's coming to help people. It's all about us coming together and helping each other, which the Amish, boy, they are on it, boy. They are jumping on the bandwagon. They are leaders in the pathway to independence. Like, they've stayed independent from our government for a long fucking time, and they have grown their skills and stuff, and it shows. Like, they've even got, I really want one of these things. Like, cool as shit, man. It's like, you remember the wagon trains, like they would show us in the movies, and what they would look like? Kind of like over here, it's more of a generic one, but like the gypsy kind of things, the gypsy trailers or something. But these are those kind that they showed us that the people would take from the East Coast to go to the West Coast, the wagon train things. And so they've made all these fucking, they are so fucking cool. They're like a camper kind of. I was like, man, this would be so perfect if I could get, as I was talking to my one daughter yesterday, we were talking for a while, and I was still like, once shit goes, and my plan is still to get her a place that has some land, and then I can have my own little visitor station, my own guest house or something. And so that's like, my manifesting going in that direction. And she doesn't understand some of the stuff, so she because the spirituality for people who they came up with is different. And so it's like, well, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. It's like, no, it will open itself. You can't force things. It has to just, you go towards that energy. And I said, when I'm prepared, like I got my silver and everything, like I'm ready, but things that got to shift. Like, I can't, I could take all my silver. It's not going to have the value until the collapse happens. And so, and there's going to be a reevaluation. There's going to be properties that are going to be going like crazy, because all of them have been owned by these LLCs and these corporations and this bullshit. And they're all going to be tons of properties that will be available, and the price is going to go really, really cheap. And it's going to be hard on the people who think like, well, I paid a long time, and my house is worth $500,000 and stuff, and all of a sudden it's going to be worth like 10. And it's good. They're gonna have that's gonna be a hard ride, but that's what it is. And but when all those go down, this big collapse happens. That's when I want to go and get one. And then my one daughter, my oldest daughter, she's like, I'm not staying here. We're gonna go somewhere else. They want to go to Kentucky. And so she's only planning on being there a short time. My other daughter, her fella has strong roots there. And so it's like, she's more going to be staying there. And it is, it's a town that most people would look at as like, this is a Mexican town. And is one thing that both daughters are really getting a vision of the treatment of the difference in a minority town and a regular, where it's not just heavily minority. Because there's minorities. Well, it's so weird because the white people are actually the minority, which is so strange. But it is the uh, the the ones that they consider that they put on their thing as minorities. So and this one is Hispanic, and it's all there's lots of apple farms and stuff there, and so it's migrant workers and stuff. But a lot of people have come there and have stayed there. So like the grocery stores, everything. I love it. I think it's cool, but there's definitely. There's a hair in my mouth. I swear to God. It was like I put this sweater on. It's already covered with hair. I can't get it off, but by a couple of hours, I will fucking be so covered with hair. It was something with the static. I don't know. It's so weird. But I keep having hair in my mouth. It's driving me crazy. Um, but anyway, so they're getting to experience that the way that these communities are treated, rather than like the suburban one that they grew up in. And so everything is like eye-opening. But anyways, my one daughter, that's why I was like, man, we just need to get one of these places that has an acre or two, and then I can put my own little guest house out there. And then she has a mother-in-law is like, or her mother-in-law, that I was like, culture, you probably need to get her a little guest house out there too. And that's just the way, certain groups just stick them over in a nursing home, and other people take care of their people as they get older. And it's kind of just an expected thing. Like, this is just how it goes in our culture. And so anyways, when I was looking at those Amish wagons, I was like, fuck yeah, I would put one of those. Oh, but I guess that would be hard on Stella. Like, I would have to probably just get but they are also making tiny homes. And they're selling them for reasonable amounts. They're not, and they're made with really high quality. And they're donating some, and some people are buying. Like, they're really going to town, especially over in that area where I see these videos going of people ordering things and stuff like that. They're fucking, man, yeah, the wagon train things are so cool. Just look them up. They're cool as shit. And that would be so cool to have a couple of that would be so cool to have some property and to set it up with a bunch of wagon trains as campsites. Oh, that would be so cute. I think that there's going to be so much really cute stuff when we start really getting down to brass tacks or whatever. When we start coming into our own, and we start creating the our neighborhoods, our own spaces and stuff, there's going to be so much more character to life than how it's kind of stale, and people are more repressed and oppressed and stuff like that. But this whole this whole creative side is going to really blossom once people really start, letting go of their darkness too. It's such a process, and people just don't understand how to go about it. And this girl, I just saw this video, and this woman was crying. I don't know, she's probably around my age. I don't know. She could have been way young. It's so hard to tell with people now, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can fucking be 20 and look 60. And so it's very variable, and it is so much based on lifestyle. Who was that I had just seen? And I was like, it's a healthy lifestyle. Like, people think like, because it's like this person hadn't aged or something, but I think that I can't think of who it was. I'll have to think about it. But anyways, so God, let me think where I was. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So this woman was crying like, why is everybody out to get me? Why is everybody out to get me? Or something like that. And then I don't even do anything, and I just don't understand. It was like short like that too. And I said, probably not everybody's out to get you. Probably the universe is giving you situations to work on your boundaries. People just don't realize, like, they look at things from the opposite side. They're not seeing the benefit of these things. And so it's overwhelming because trying to have fucking boundaries and stand up for yourself is hard when people haven't been taught. And just like, this lady, she's really to move. And when all the neighbors need to come together and say, no, this isn't okay. And we're going to take your dog and we're going to, you guys don't get any more. And no telling, like, there is a kid, there was a 1-year-old the other day, I don't even know what town, in the middle of the night, and cops went out, found this kid just out walking around, took him back to the station or something, and there's all these people looking for the people, and there's nobody looking for the kid. Now, I don't know now if something's happened, if more has happened, like, oh, well, he was staying at Grandpa's house while his parents were out of town, and the little 1-year-old went looking for his parents out on the road, and Grandpa was asleep and deaf, and he didn't know he was gone. Like, I don't know if that's going to end up being the story. Like, I don't fucking know. But when I saw it, I was like, fucking, are they dumping kids now like they're dumping dogs? I was like, we don't want them anymore. Just drop them off over there. And it's like, people just have there's such a lack of humanity and compassion in humans. Like, there has to be this experience of learning and growing, and it's so important to look at stuff like that lady, instead of standing up for herself or speaking her truth or whatever it is that she's feeling like she's being overrun. Like, why is this happening to me? And it's like, the things are happening when something is happening, and it keeps happening. Like I've been saying, it's because you're supposed to deal with it. You're supposed to do something different. You can't just ignore this stuff. You have to take actions. This isn't about the universe is trying to kick your ass. The universe is trying to kick your ass in gear. It's trying to get you to wake up, to pay attention, to stand up for yourself. You value yourself, to know that how you feel about something is important. Well, it was my one daughter, which we did good, man. We were able to argue and just keep on talking and stay with it. So it's so impressive, because her and I, ever since she was a kid, her and I have been going toe to toe. It's like I've said, we have this polar opposite views of things, and we have spent a lot of tension. But then I started seeing so much about, oh, she's here to teach me. And that came throughout my awakening. That came like in 2016, like when this stuff was happening. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And then they said, oh, this is because you're learning boundaries. And it was like, oh, boundaries are hard, man. God damn, they're hard. And so, anyways, we were talking about that yesterday, and about this other situation with my other daughters and stuff. And because I was even saying, Dad, he wanted it to be like, he wanted it to be that way. And she's like, no, he's pretty bothered about all this. And I was like, yeah, but it's funny because this is like what he wanted. So now he got it. So now it's like, you get to see. And the whole thing is just so strange. And I was talking about like that, my triggers and whatever. And I was saying things, and whatever she was saying back, I was saying, this is always how it goes. This is always how it goes. Mom's the crazy one. Mom's the one that needs to change. Mom's the one that needs to look at it different. Mom's the one that needs, it's like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it anymore. Maybe I was wrong for getting mad over her setting a boundary or something, but I have every right. I have my own reasons to be mad. And it wasn't like I'm blocking everybody. I'm just like, I need to not talk for a while. I got to go through my process. I've got to get myself, and it's not like I'm just going to ignore it. I'm going to process through it. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to look at it from a lot of different perspectives and see, I could see like, I probably, me putting an expectation or demand on her that she didn't want to do, then that was, all those things are going to happen. Like, it's not like you can stop these things from happening. And that's why you got to process through it. you know, like whatever side you're on. You don't have to, you know, well, you're just a total asshole, I'm never speaking to you again. Just take some time to process, like think about it, go into reflection about it, ask your guidance about it, like just try and see it from as much perspective as you can. The more you can increase your perspective, the more peace you're going to find, I'm telling you. And the more resistance, or the more resistance you can walk away from, the more it's not going to be a tension that you are just on edge about, the more you can like let it go. Just like, okay, you know, that's how you look at it. Well, I look at it this way. And anyways, it was a good talk. It was really good, I think. And I think that she could see this other side, because like people don't realize, like, you know, to your parent is your, especially when you have a bunch of kids and their opinion is of one thing, whose opinion is going to be the one that is the one that's valued? Not the one that has the different opinion. It's going to be the ones that are all together looking at this one saying, no, our opinions matter, yours doesn't. And so, but all these different roles are to teach us. And the crazy thing is through life, you shift into these different roles so that you see, so you feel the experience, so you understand, like, and that opens us up to be more caring and compassionate, to understand, like, there's just so much to understand about perspective and about our inability to just ride it out. Like, we need to form everybody's to agree. We got to get everybody to see what we see and stuff like that. When it's like, it's impossible. You can't get people to see what you see. You can't get people to taste something and get the same flavor that you get. You can't, there's just certain things that we can't do. And it just is an added on frustration. It's like, but throughout all of these different things, like getting to the point of you setting your own boundaries, even if you loosen them or tighten them as you go, those are the steering, that's the shifting through. Because to me, what I've noticed is, like, you set a boundary and then the universe comes in and tests that boundary, and then that may make you set another. It may make you go back a little. It will create different shifts in how you look at things. And so then you'll be like, oh, okay, I'm doing good. Then another thing will happen and it will push harder. And it will keep trying to define you and your boundaries. It's like, that's what you got to look at. What's happening is, like, the universe is trying to get you to define yourself to you. And it isn't like, it's not necessary to define yourself to everybody else, but it is necessary for you to understand yourself and to accept yourself. That's the big thing, is like, there's so many people who hate themselves, just can't stand themselves. And it is a big journey to learn to love yourself and to appreciate yourself. And there's a lot of things that you have to let go of. And it's not to be like up your own ass, like, well, you know, everybody does stupid stuff. Like, you still have an awareness of the stupid shit you've done, but it's like a humblingness. It's like a, well, you know, nobody's perfect. And it's not like, you know, like that, where people think that they're better than other people. It is so much more of just like, you know, we all make mistakes. We all do stupid stuff. And so if you get all hung up on, like, well, I'm stupid. See, that to me is, it's like attention sucking energy. It's like, poor me, I'm worse. No, you guys are all stupid, but I'm stupider. And it's like, you're just trying to hog the stupid shit. You got to, you know, give yourself some slack. You got to be like, you know, well, we're all trying to do stupid shit, you know, but it hurts when you yourself does stupid shit. It is like haunting to you, and it will eat at you, and it will wake you up at night. You keep rethinking it, reliving it and stuff. And when that is happening, is a part of it is so you can let it go, so you can see, like, because there's so much stuff that we hold on to that it's absurd. It's absurd to hold on to these things, and it's absurd to replay the things that just piss you off. But that is what's going to keep the dark energy attached to you, because you're going to keep replaying it and getting angry, and that dark energy is going to feed into that. And that probably is even manipulating you in some way, or like not guiding, not it's geez, what is that word? She's on the move. She's very stiff, but man, I'm telling you, she is just going out and acting like a puppy and running around and playing. And just like yesterday, even though she's walking like a goddamn sloth, slow as hell, but she wanted to go do this whole walk. She even wanted to go into the other neighborhood. And I was like, hell to the no, we're out. I was trying to think, what was the weather? Because it was weird out. Like, the fog will come in the morning. Then it'll start to go. Then there'll be another wave of the fog. Then, as the afternoon goes, the more fog will come in. It's like we are fucking lambasted with fog all the time. It's just, it keeps coming and keeps coming and keeps coming. And I asked my daughter if she had looked through the telescope yet. She said, no, it's totally overcast. And I'm like, oh, so the fog? And she's like, no, it's just overcast. And, oh, yeah, because there was some things like, and I didn't go into any arguments about it. I was like, you know, everybody's going to see what they're going to see when they see it. And there was a lot of different things about, well, Dawn, well, since Dawn, well, you know, this is how, well, and it's like, there's just so many things that people are looking at that they haven't seen. Especially there's like huge groups that are just looking at the negative side, but the negative side is such a manipulated side, so they're not seeing the whole thing. And then when you try and tell them what's really going on or the truth, then they just think, oh, you're just in the cult, you just think this and think that. It's like, no, I'm paying attention in the world, I'm watching as things are playing out. It's like, but you can't get people to do that. It's not like it's their job. There's just some of us doing it. And it's not like they're doing it wrong. Like, it's impossible to do stuff wrong. But every time that we don't like what we do, we think we've done it wrong. We should have done it better. We should have done it this way. If only I could have done it. If only this. And so it is so much more in life as learning how to accept yourself and to look at things differently and to understand the impact of the lessons that you're going through and the individual growth that appears through going through this stuff. Like boundaries, like it's so crazy too, because I was raised in this certain life of it was, you know, I had a lot of stuff happen to me. And, you know, a lot of people don't all have a lot of bad things happen to them. And, but it's all by perception, you know, because some people, like one little tiny bad thing can happen to them and then fall apart. And then other people, it's like you just pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed one bad thing after another after another. And, what was I was seeing something about that. Let me see if I can see it again. Because I don't know what I'm talking about unless I can see it. Like, I'm just rambling. I'm just talking. I have to be able to see what I'm looking at. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of words. So, seeing is believing. So, seeing the hell? Okay, I have no idea what it was. I'm kind of lost on what the fuck I was even talking about now. But let me just think if there was other stuff I was going to talk about. Was there something? Seemed like there was something with the food. This thing with the norovirus or something. I'm irritated. They just are always trying to make like we're getting sick from each other. If everybody's getting this motherfucking norovirus, it's in the goddamn water or food or something. It's put into this stuff. We're not all just getting sick from each other. They create that so that we fear one another. We fear being close. We fear everybody's sick. They create so much of that fear based on people you just don't know. And they get you to look at the people you don't know in a generalized way that has no relevance to the real people. And it's so much deeper. But each person, each soul has to like have this recognition, you know, this acceptance, this like, you know, we're all the same, and get out of this hierarchy. I'm better than you. I'm smarter than you. I'm more religious than you. All of this stuff, like where people come up with that they're better than other people. Now my stomach's growling. My stomach has been better though. It's definitely been a lot better. But I'm sure another wave. I mean, fucking, it's just nonstop with whatever the fuck their poison is with. Sure, there's gonna be another thing, and no telling what is gonna go on with the weather. I saw this lady who was talking about that. You know how like they used to always be telling us the weather, and it was always off, it was always wrong, and now how she was talking about something else, but while she was saying that, I was thinking it's kind of weird how now it's so accurate. It was like they're doing it on purpose, like they're doing it, and they're like, oh, this storm's about to go, you better do this, you better do that, and then fuck, there it is. And they were talking about these roads beforehand. They were telling people not to go on them. But then people, I guess, apparently they think, they always say that. It's not that big a deal. And they are not listening or something. And so, I don't know. That's all going to work together. And each individual person, of however what they go through, how they look at it, those are all their lessons. So there's tons and tons of lessons that are going in all these situations happening. Another thing that my daughter and I were talking about yesterday, that was, she was saying something about like these robotic people or something. And I was like, oh, are you talking about like the NPCs? Like what people talk about that? And I said, because I look at it differently. And so I was explaining to her how I look at it is, but she could recognize, like, it's so weird how these people come into your life. And I was like, yeah, because it's like that is how it's meant to be. These people come into your orbit, it's into your transits, and they're all meant to interact. They're meant to cross your path. You're meant to intersect with these people all the time, every day. You have this pre-planned day that's coming, and in all of these interactions, you can learn from them. Just like the what is that road? That gold one with the girl with the red shoes on it, the Wizard of Oz, that gold path, and the meeting the people along your path. I think they've shown that a lot of different shows of meeting the people along your path, but that's what life is all about, and that's what the tarot journey is about and stuff. And it's about the influence and the impact that happens to you through life that creates your growth and who you become to be. But all of those interactions are supposed to happen, and some people, it can seem like, are they just like an NPC person that's just coming in? Like, do we have just these because she was looking at it as like, do we just have these people who are like robot people or something, and they just go in and for our experience, like they're just here for our experience? And I was like, I see it as like that it's lower chakra. Until you have raised your kundalini, until you start raising going through your chakra system, you are just in your lower chakra. And your lower chakra and your root and your sacral is where you hold and impact, you compact that energy. All of your pain and trauma, you just push it down and push it down and push it down. And then some people, start gaining weight to protect themselves and stuff like that. It all has to do with pain and trauma. And so you push it down and push it down to get it like where it's comfortable, and then you start going through life, and it is what you're interacting with, your pain and trauma. And so people do things and say things and stuff, and you become reactive. You're just reacting to old pain and trauma. You're not really in the here and now, because you're holding on to this old stuff that you haven't healed from. You're just hiding from it. And then you're going through life and you think it's all compact in there and hidden away, but you interact with people and react in certain behaviors that are very toxic, that show that you've got issues. So many people out there showing their deep, deep issues, and they don't realize. And it's, it becomes like a simple thing. Once you start working on your pain and trauma, it starts changing your personality. You don't have these reactive kind of trigger happy emotions and stuff. You start getting a better handle, because it is a mastery, but you have to know what you're mastering, and you have to go towards it. And the universe is giving us all of this opportunity, all of this example, to see. And so you want to go towards that, like I keep saying, towards these, these alter sides of yourself, especially because so many of them are uncomfortable. Being vulnerable is so uncomfortable. And when you're very first starting, and setting boundaries, super uncomfortable. And, when I was somebody who didn't have any boundaries, I heard that over and over in my life about, you need to have boundaries. You need to have boundaries. It's like, what is this thing you say, boundaries? Like, I feel like I'm just always worrying about other people's feelings. Like, oh gosh, poor them. Oh, poor them. Like, and they're an asshole or a dick or something. Then it's like, oh, well, they're kind of an asshole or they've got issues. But that is, really becomes a reflection of you not caring about yourself, just being everybody's doormat. And so you have to pick up your pieces and you have to stand up for yourself. You can't just be everybody's doormat. That doesn't make you a better person. And yeah, it makes you a weaker person. But anyway, so boundaries is what gives you that, like, no, I'm not a doormat. I'm standing here. And this is, what I'm willing to accept. And the people who, that's too much for them, you standing up for yourself, those are people that you needed to get push them away. It's not where, well, I really like them. No, those people are not people that you need in your life. The universe is giving you that opportunity, because then once you push that person away and say you're a girl and you're out there dating, this guy's a dick, but oh, he's so cute, he's got a nice car, he's got a good job, I'm just gonna keep on going out with him, but he's kind of a dick, and keep going and trying to make this work and stuff. And the universe keeps showing you what a dick he is, but you keep putting your feelings aside. And then by the time you ever do stand up for yourself and he's like, no, I'm gonna whatever, then you have to stay strong in your own, and you have to be willing to let that go. Once you let that go, something that's toxic, something better will come in. But that doesn't mean it's going to be your best version is going to come in. It's going to be your next layer to your lessons. So the next person, don't just think, oh, well, I got rid of that asshole, dodge that bullet, so now they got this other one coming in. He's just going to be another part of the lessons. So you can't sit there and just be like, oh, well, this is, now I've got the perfect one, so no matter what he does, then I will just put it aside, because I'm going to, advance myself by changing myself into what he wants me to be. And then that is going to be toxic. It's going to blow up somewhere down the road. There is the part, I think, where you start having a relationship that is more at the level that you want in healing, is where both people take responsibility for themselves. It isn't they're going to put their stuff off on you, and they know how to take time to process through their stuff. They're not toxic to one another. They're not having demands or expectations from each other. It is more of a camaraderie, more of a partnership. And, right now, I think most people in the relationships that we've had have found that it's a battle zone. It's a tug of war. It's difficult. And it's because we have all managed relationships in this toxic, where we're all toxic. Nobody's healed. And we all just accept it. Everybody's a fucking mess, and everybody just blames everybody. Oh, no. It's that person over there. They're just a total asshole. Oh, that person's a dick. That person's not grown. That person's what is that? Is a remnant of their abuse. And so we just look at everybody else, but we don't look at our own toxic behaviors of why it is our interactions are with all people who are toxic. It's because you are in that vibration. You are also toxic. And when you step out of your perception and you look at it from their perception and you start seeing how you affect them, then you start seeing, oh man, I'm making them feel just as bad as they're making me feel. How do we get out of this situation? And it goes by healing and raising your vibration and pulling yourself out. And every relationship that comes in, look at them more as these challenges of growth. Not like we jump in way too fast. And that's why we've got all of these dogs and kids and everything just being thrown away. It's like people got themselves in too deep. They're too overwhelmed. They don't even know how to take care of themselves. And so everything is fracturing apart in our society. because of where we've pushed it. In our toxic, not taking care of ourselves, like our health is deteriorating. People are so fucking sick. And just all of these things are the aftermath. They are the repercussions of the lifestyle choices that we made. And even though there's been so much of it has been manipulated and so much of it is toxic, but there is an acceptance. Like we accepted it, even if it's like a Stockholm syndrome. Well, that's the only thing we knew. It is still in our internal equilibrium. There's a disconnect. There's a feeling of irregularity. And so that is where we need to start going into that energy. Man, it must be confirmation because I keep having this. So this going into that energy of everything has to do with going towards this energy of healing, taking responsibility for yourself, doing things more, because boundaries is different. That's taking a step, like that's putting yourself out there, as being vulnerable. Like, no, I'm not accepting that, like, and, there's been times I'm sure in grade school, like where we were all laughed at. We said, don't do that to me. And I'd be, oh God, what an idiot, and so it's like, fuck, man. Everybody's gonna make fun of me. And so we get kind of washed out of standing up for ourselves and stuff. And so a lot of people have weak boundaries. A lot of people in homes where it's like toxic parenting. And there's been so much toxic parenting because nobody was being taught. Everybody has been a wreck for a long, long time, generationally. And so we've got generation after generation of ill-equipped ill-equipped parenting, and what we're all the aftermath of it. And this is where this time, because we're no longer in that experience, even though some people are still in it, it's ending. And we're in this time of reevaluation, of looking at it and seeing what went wrong and how can we fix it. And that is this transition. That is this bridge to the new world, the new you, is to be able to reevaluate, to look at what went wrong and take responsibility and start putting things to go right. And the more that you tune into your own self, your own soul, and your own desires and stuff, and when you are thinking about your desires and stuff, just think about, like, go into them deeper, to try and figure out, like, is this something that I'm feeding? Is it my ego? Is this something that I feel guided? Is this my purpose? Am I not going in the direction I should be going? Like, just spend more time in trying to figure that out, because that is real. Like, that's real. That's your real life of, trying to understand if you have yourself off of your own track. Because, your track, like I said, your life will happen today without you interfering at all. Everything will come to you, and your interactions and stuff. And there is, it's set, it's a plan. Oh, and so on, I've been, totally suspicious, watching out my window all the time, like, oh, these people going to pull back up? Who the fuck are these people? And so yesterday in the mail, I got a thing from the power company, and they said, well, they were going to have to come out and put on one of those other kind of, the smart meter, because I'm not following through with what I agreed to or something. So I call him and I'm like, what are you talking about? And at first she was kind of silent. Well, what else does it say in the letter? Is that all it says? So I start reading into the letter, and so then I say, so what is going on? Like, and so she said, she's going, this was a long call, man. And so she went through and she was reading the notes and stuff. So I think that the guy who was out there was the power company guy that was coming to read the meter. Maybe that's why he was over on the edge. Like, I don't know. He thought the meter was going to be on the edge of my property or something. I'm not sure what the fuck. And he wasn't driving any kind of PSE truck or something. He wasn't in a truck that had a that SUV had some kind of logo on it, but I couldn't see, and it definitely was not a recognizable one like the power company. And so I And he acted all weird. Like, even if it was that he was here and he was pissed off because he couldn't just walk into my yard and there's dogs and stuff like that, and he's pissed off and he's calling his person or whatever. When I was looking out there, why wouldn't he hold up like something that showed like, I'm here to check your meter? He just walks to the end of my driveway, stands there, both hands out like that, stands with his legs apart, just mean mugging me. It's like, what the fuck, dude? And so I told her that too. And she goes, that doesn't sound like any of our people that would do something like that. And I would think that they would be in a truck too. And I said, and then the next day a guy drove by in the same kind of vest thing and pulled it into my driveway and started yelling at me. And then turned around and then pulled down and started mean mugging me down there. I thought it was the construction guys from the new construction. And I went over there looking, and I couldn't find any. And I said, but the dates seem to align with what you're saying of when they came out here. So it seems like, you know, which feels like a relief to me, like, oh, so it was the power company coming out here. And so she gave me the date of when they're going to come. But that also is why my power bill, like I got no power bill last month. And then this one, they sent me one for $48. So it's like, oh. So it's probably not just that I haven't had the lights on and just been doing the wood. Now they just are just giving me random numbers. So no telling what my bill next month is going to be. But this month is the month that I'm going to try and get most of this stuff paid off. So next month, if they kick my ass with some extreme electric bill, I'll be able to pay it. There's all this other stuff paid, but still they haven't, I don't think that they took the payment out for Archie last month. You know, even if they come in and they start saying, well, they're going to take 2 out this month, I'm going to say no. You can take 1 out this month. And not, I've got all this shit I got to pay. And the payment ended up, you know, I used it to get stuff for emergency for the snowstorm that never came here. God dang, my throat. Hold on. So anyways, but that, you know, is like another one of those kind of boundaries, because there's so much part where we feel like if we don't do this stuff, that makes us like not a good person, you know. Yeah, there's something going on too with like credit scores or something. Because so many people, their credit score mattered way too much. So yeah, shit's gonna fall apart with all of this stuff. All of this stuff is going to keep falling apart. And look at that, 365 mil go out with those 3 girls. And that's just one class action suit. Like these people don't have money. That it's going to bankrupt. All these insurance companies, most of them, I think, are going to end their reign in bankruptcy. There's not going to be, they don't have the money to pay things out. They're going to be hit way too hard. And there's going to be more and more. Because it's being shown how much interference that they have caused in our health and stuff. And then it's going to be more, you know, it's like they're all part of the same fucking laundry system. It's so absurd. All this stuff is so absurd. But anyways, when you are in your lower chakra, you do have to face that stuff. Because otherwise you are just, you know, what people think of as an NPC. You're just going around being reactive. You're on autopilot. And so it's so much more valuable to get yourself into the here and now. So you do have, you get something from your different interactions instead of you just showing everybody that you've got problems. Because that's what it boils down to. We're just all showing each other we got problems. And then we snicker at each other and make fun of each other and talk bad about each other and stuff. And we just got to do better, you know. We've got to increase the humanity in humans. That's our challenge, is to become more caring, more compassionate, more aware. Like it is just mind numbing how people are so oblivious, just going around like nothing's going on at all. Fine, things are fine in my house. It's like the whole world is blowing up. The whole world is falling apart. And all of these things are happening for you to have the experience so that you can grow and heal. And so, well, that's all I can say. Time is up. And so just remember what I'm telling you and what you're doing, as far as I can see, is working on yourself. Because you got to learn how to love yourself, to love everyone and have a loving day, because it is totally up to you. It's your attitude, so get with it. And I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll see you later. Bye.